Now switching topics, have you or someone you know been diagnosed with bipolar disorder? We have some important information for you. Keep watching. Well, did you know that May is Mental Health Awareness Month? To commemorate it, we are taking a look into the clinical challenges and recent developments for people diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Joining us this morning is Dr. Gary Sachs with more. Doctor, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you, Heather.
Now, let's really dive into what bipolar disorder is. Can you explain that to our viewers?
Yeah, people with bipolar disorder have extreme abnormal mood states that include both highs that we refer to as mania and major depressive episodes. And patients will experience alternating mood states between those abnormal states and really being fully recovered, which is obviously where we'd like them to be. But those abnormal mood states have a huge impact on the patient's ability to function and even their general health.
So we're talking about mood swings, the ups, the downs. Are there any other symptoms, and really how do they differ from patient to patient?
Yeah, I think it's really important that it's much more than just the quality of the mood. They'll experience changes in sleep, energy, appetite, cognition, the ability to experience pleasure. And, sometimes the mood state is not the biggest problem that they have. It's those other things that impair their ability to function. And not all patients have all of those symptoms. Some just have a cluster of, let's say, 4 or 5 of them. So patients can look quite different from each other. And even the same patient can have a real fluctuation in their symptoms. So this can make it confusing to diagnose.
I can see that. And of course, it would be difficult to have to live with this diagnosis, but also we don't want to forget the people that are caring for those with bipolar disorder. So what are some of the major challenges that those people face?
Well, I think they see something different when they look at their loved one than the person with the condition can see. And generally speaking, the person who has the disorder, they're going to be the bellwethers of depression. They may realize that their mood is going down and they have the other symptoms that we spoke about way before the relatives do, and the relatives will be trying to convince them that, oh, nothing is wrong. On the other hand, when mood is elevated, it's the other way around, and the relatives are concerned that the patient is euphoric or, hyper-energetic or maybe irritable, and the patient doesn't see that. So that's where professional consultation can be really helpful when patients come in, especially if they can have a session together with their loved ones. That really makes putting a complete picture together a lot more possible.
Well, I think that's great advice, Doctor. Getting everybody on the same page with the help of a professional is always a good idea. Now, treatment for bipolar disorder has really evolved throughout the years. Tell us.
Yeah, we've actually got a lot more treatments now than when I started my career. Instead of just having lithium, we have about 12.5 FDA-approved treatments for some aspect of bipolar disorder. And that enables us to do a lot more for patients than we used to do. And the real plus is that as we get newer treatments, many of them have much more attractive side effect profiles. So patients are able to get started with them, stick with them, and really have prolonged benefits.
Well, of course, since we have you here, we want your professional opinion. What are some of the newer therapies and other treatment options that you're most excited about?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Just having more excites me. The most recently available is a drug called Vraylar or cariprazine, and this is a drug classified as a so-called atypical antipsychotic drug. And here we have yet another opportunity, a new tool in our toolbox that we can try to offer to patients who have this condition. And for some of the patients, this is going to be life-changing for them because they're going to have a full recovery. And that's what really excites me, and I think most care providers find that's the gratifying thing, to have a patient go from being, terribly impacted by a condition to having a full recovery.
Great, Doctor. Well, some very beneficial information this morning. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you, Heather. I appreciate you helping us get this word out.
Of course. Now, stay where you are. The Morning Blend will be right back.